calcaraz from Keller Williams Professionals, and today I want to talk to you about how to make a strong offer that stands out, especially right now that we are in a seller's market. It's January of 2021, and we've been in a seller's market for a while now, and it just keeps coming. So you need to definitely do some creative things and make sure you have a realtor that is going to help you understand all of this more than I can, and more than I can in this little video, and really go over everything that you can do to make an attractive offer. And it might not all be, financially. There are many things that you'll soon find that are free that you can make your offer stand out and hopefully be accepted. First things first, most realtors will not even take you out to go see houses until you have a pre-approval letter. This is key. If you're getting any type of financing, you need that pre-approval, because if you go and see a house and you fall in love with it and you don't have a pre-approval letter, it's going to take, it could possibly take a few days to get that pre-approval, and hopefully you get approved for that amount for what that house is listed at. Right now, houses are selling within, a couple of days on market, if not a couple of weeks, especially, under 300 or under 250,000. So you don't want to be waiting on your pre-approval if you love a house and you want to put an offer in on it. So make sure you have that pre-approval before you even start looking at houses. It will help you in the long run, and it will, save you from missing out on something that you really love. So there's a couple of different types of offers, loans, have financing that you can offer with. Obviously cash is king. We all know this. Cash is the most attractive for sellers. It is a quick close. It shows that you have the funds already and you don't need to go through financing and underwriting and all the loan process in order to buy that house. So as long as you show proof of funds and that you have that money available to purchase that house, cash is a great way to put an offer in. But obviously, many people don't have that option. So the next common one is conventional loans. So conventional loans, they do not require 20% down now. Make sure you know that if you are thinking about buying a house, you do not need 20% down to buy a home, or to get a loan or whatever. So conventional is a great asset because it shows that you have more money down than an FHA, which we'll talk about, and it also shows that you have a lower debt to income ratio, good credit, all of the things that sellers want. Then there is FHA, very common. Nothing wrong with FHA. A lot of first-time home buyers use FHA because when you're buying your first house, you might not have a lot of money to put down. FHAs are 3.5% down, which is still a substantial amount of money. So if you are looking to buy a $250,000 house, let's do some math. That's still, you're gonna need $8,750 for the down payment, and that doesn't include your closing costs. So, FHA is not bad at all. We just accepted an offer on a house that was FHA, and there was an FHA offer and a conventional offer. We went with the FHA, for multiple reasons, but FHAs are great. I'm just saying that if you have the same offer, FHA and conventional, then they're likely going to go with conventional. But also FHA, the appraisal is a little stricter because it's more based on safety. But again, they're still great options, and they're very, very common. So don't let an FHA loan deter you from looking or, not accepting one, because they're fine. They're very common. There's also the VA loans, which is a veteran loan. And obviously this is for active or retired veterans. 0% down, great loan. But I don't see them often because I haven't worked with many veterans. But you know, just the cash conventional FHA are obviously the most common, but VAs are a great option. If you're eligible for a VA, I suggest trying to get that because it's great for you. Definitely want to make note that right now it is not the time to be making low offers on homes. If you want a home, do not try to lowball it and hope that you get it. It is just not the market. It is not the time. You are going to go through heartbreak. I have buyers putting in great offers and, you know, way over asking and still not getting them through, you know, and not getting accepted. So if you love something, don't put a low offer on it, especially anything under 300 or 250. They're likely to go 10 to 15 above asking right now. So it's honestly a waste of time right now to put a lower offer on something like that, unless it's been sitting for a while. If it is $250,000 and it's been sitting for a while, then you can probably put a low offer. Go see that house. You'll probably be able to figure out why it hasn't sold yet. And then you're gonna need to determine if that is worth it to you. So the third thing that you can do is a large down payment. You do not need 20% down on a home. I just want to put that out there again. I know I already said it, but if you are able to put more down and you're comfortable with it, put more down. It makes your offer stronger. You know, if you are, you know, offering on a $240,000 home and you say, I'm gonna put $85,000 down, that shows the seller that you are, you know, you're serious and you want this house and you're willing to put $85,000 down on it, among doing other things, then that's great. If you can do that, then do that, but you absolutely don't need to. It's just another perk of what you can do if you're financially able. Another thing that you can do is to increase your EMD. So EMD is your earnest money deposit. Don't mind me, I'm taking my shoes off. And it is about 1 to 3% of the sales price. So what you do is you say, if you're putting an offer on a $250,000 home, your EMD will probably be around $2,500, that's 1%. You can put 8% if you want, but what this does is it shows that you're serious, but that money gets put towards your closing costs in the end. So really you're not losing any money. It's money that you're gonna have to pay later anyways. So the only way that you can lose that is if you, so the EMD is contingent on your inspection and appraisal pretty much. So if you have your inspection and, you know, there's a problem with the roof, then you get your EMD back and you can walk away, no problem. But if your inspection goes well and you're like, yep, we're good with the inspection, and your appraisal comes back and you're like, yep, we're good with it, and then a week later you're like, you know, we just aren't comfortable, we don't want to do it anymore, we want to walk away, then you could potentially lose that EMD. Sometimes your EMD, just make sure that your EMD is contingent on the right thing so that you don't lose it if you're not comfortable with the inspection or whatnot. Is to limit your contingencies. So for almost every offer I put in, I always put it contingent on the inspection and the appraisal. So contingencies take time, and that is not something the sellers want to deal with. So if you have contingencies on inspection and appraisal, make sure, one, that your inspection, shorten your timeline for the inspection. Normally it's like 7 to 10 days. Put 3 if you can. If you can get an inspector out there in 3 days, you'll know if you want to keep going forward with the sale. The seller will know that, you know, we've passed inspection, we're going forward. Or 5 days, you know, and that'll just, if you have to wait 10 days for the inspection and then something's wrong, then you're right at the beginning, both the seller and the buyer. So that's a way, is to limit your contingencies with that. You also, with the inspection contingency, can make the inspection contingent on all major problems. So that would be your, you know, structural problems, roof, plumbing, heating and cooling, electrical, water damage, termites, those things. So if any of those are wrong, then you can walk away. But that just tells the sellers that you are serious. You're not going to walk away because there's a chip in the floor or an outlet that needs to be replaced. Or you won't come back and say, oh, I need $1,000 to replace the outlets, or, you know, anything like that. Small things that can be fixed, you know, feasibly, not structural problems or roof problems, which are bigger and more costly. As for the appraisal contingency, this is huge right now. Appraisals are further along in the process of the inspection. Once the inspection goes through is usually when your lender orders the appraisal. And that can take, you know, a week or two or whatnot. So the appraisal is, if there's a problem with your appraisal, that can really cause some issues if you don't do an appraisal contingency waiver. So with this, the appraisal contingency is if you say I'm willing to pay $5,000 over the appraised value. If you put an offer for $220 in and your appraisal comes back at $210, you only have to pay $215. If you waive your appraisal altogether, then you're responsible for that 10 grand from $220 to $210. And that cannot be financed. That has to be out of your own pocket. So if you're able to and you're okay with paying for more than it was appraised for or worth or whatever, then go ahead. This is huge right now because people don't want to, you know, get that appraisal mishap and go back to the beginning, or, you know, come down in their purchase price or lose the buyer altogether. A lot of times right now they're doing caps, so like that 5,000, or you can do 1,000, you can do 10,000, you can, you know, take the whole thing away and just agree to pay over whatever it comes in at. Or you don't have to. If you don't have any money extra laying around between your closing cost and your down payment, then don't do it. You have to make sure that you have that money if need be. Granted, right now, appraisals are coming in great. You know, I haven't had any issues with appraisals right now, knock on wood. They're all coming in at the offer. But, you know, I can't guarantee that. I'm not an appraiser. So I can say I don't think that there will be an issue with the appraisal, but it's also not my job, and I can't guarantee that for you. So you have to be comfortable with saying, yeah, I'm willing to pay 10 grand over, even though I likely don't think it will be 10 grand. Even if it comes in at, you know, 22,000, no. If it comes in at like 212,000, then you only have to pay that 8. Or if it comes in at 208, then you only have to pay 218. You know what I'm saying? You just have to pay that difference. 10,000 over the appraised value, 5,000 over the appraised value. So I definitely think that putting a cap on it is helpful. Appraisals were very confusing to me in the beginning. So if anything I said didn't make sense, I don't blame you. Just ask me, because that was a lot. That was a lot. It's okay. It's okay. But appraisals are really big right now just because they are time consuming and can be a pain. So this next one is my personal favorite. It is the escalation clause. So escalation clause is where you agree to pay a certain amount over the highest and best offer. This is used in a multiple offer situation. So what you do is you start at a certain price. So say you put an offer on a home that's listed at $220. So what you can do is you can say, I'll pay $224, or I will pay $1,000 over the highest and best offer up to $230. I think this is a great option. So yes, you will be offering to pay that $224 regardless. But if somebody offers $227, then you're agreeing to pay $228. If nobody goes above $224, then you're still at that $224, and you only go up to that $230 mark, so you're not going, you know, infinitely up. And this is great because you're going above for sellers, but you're also not completely agreeing to jump right up to that $230 mark unless other people are. So the only issues that you could potentially have with this is hopefully you're working with a trustworthy agent that will be truthful, and they don't just say, oh yeah, we got an offer for $229, I always require proof of those. And yes, technically they could print out an offer and fill it in and make it up and say, and it not be a legitimate one. But at the end of the day, if your client's willing to pay that $230 and the agent wants to go through all that effort, then there's really, you know, you just have to trust them. I mean, you have to be trustworthy and hope that they are acting in good faith, as a realtor always should. But normally you should be working with those people. Obviously you don't have a choice in these situations, but I think they're a great way to make a competitive offer. I use them almost all the time. Most realtors use them, especially right now in this market, with how quickly things are selling. And I just think it's great. I love the idea of it. We did it to buy our home, and they're pretty common. I would definitely suggest putting a cap on it though, so that you're not just going above and above to no end. And obviously if you pair this with an appraisal contingency, then you know, you have to be wary of both of those things, and that you're not going too far over, and that it kind of lines up with your appraisal. So this one is the love letter. This is super easy. I highly suggest doing this whenever you know that there is like a family living in the house, or you know, some kind of emotional attachment. I've been looking at a lot of flips lately, so I don't think they do as much in those situations, because a lot of people that do flips are just worried about, you know, the profit, which, like, I get, you know, nothing wrong with that. But if there's a family that lives in a house, writing a love letter can really be great and really make a difference. I know I just sold a house. I just had clients buy a house, and they got their offer accepted partly based on their love letter, because they put that they had a rescue dog that would love to run around the backyard, and the sellers had a rescue dog and were really passionate about rescue dogs, so they chose them partly because of that, and left them a really cute note and all the things. But it can create some kind of connection, and it can really be your chance to highlight why you really want that home. I know when my husband and I bought our house, we put, you know, we grew up in this neighborhood. I grew up trick-or-treating in this neighborhood and going to the pool club. I don't know. I think that it can help. Sometimes the listing agent won't even show it to the sellers, but it's worth a couple of minutes of your time to just, you know, put it in there. Hope it makes some kind of connection with them and shows why you want the house. And that, you know, sometimes people really are emotionally attached to their house. It could be the house that they raised their family in, or whatnot. So I think it can definitely, it never hurts to put one in. A little thing that I think can make a bit of difference is whenever I submit an offer, depending on the lender that we're using, I will copy them on the email. Or one guy that we always use from Flagstar, whenever I submit an offer, I will copy him, and then he will write like a welcome email to the listing agent saying, you know, I've reviewed their assets, and I'm confident in their ability to go through this process, and just kind of makes the listing agent and the sellers feel good that the lender's behind them and part of the process and up to date on the happenings. So yeah, I think that's just like a little extra thing that you can do to, which will obviously be mostly on your realtor's part. Most of this is going to be on your realtor's part, so make sure you have a good realtor that is willing to spend the time, do all these steps, and go over all of them in even greater detail than this with you. And then finally, make sure, again, on the realtor, this is why it's so important to work with a realtor, because, you know, we know all these things and we know all the options there are and the legalities of it and whatnot, but make sure that you send a complete offer. It sounds silly, but don't forget your pre-approval. Don't forget your love letter if you wrote one. Don't forget to put in that you have an increased EMD, or that you have an appraisal contingency. Appraisal contingencies are huge right now. If you forget to write that in your offer, you know, that's a big deal. So make sure that you have a realtor that is going to do all these things for you. As a buyer, you know, you might not be super familiar with everything. I know I wasn't when we bought our home, and it makes a big difference. Just make sure you send that complete offer over. Do all the things that you can to get your offer accepted, and you know that it stands out, because it can be frustrating when you keep looking at houses and keep getting beaten out. And you can do all these things and not get an accepted offer. This is not a surefire thing to get it accepted, but all these things help. When you do all of these things, they're gonna go, wow, these people are really serious, and they might even choose you over a higher offer if it's, you know, not far above, but because you have so many things that are guaranteed that this is gonna go smoothly and quickly and through all the right passages. So just a few things. Obviously, if you ever have any real estate questions, please reach out to me. As I always say, I want to be a resource for everybody. And also, if you obviously are looking to buy or sell, I would appreciate your business. And if you have anybody that you know who's looking to buy or sell, my business grows based on referrals mostly. So I would appreciate that. Again, any questions, please reach out to me. I'm your gal. I'm here for you, and I want to help you. I want you to be prepared for anything real estate that you need. So thank you, and I'll see you guys soon. All right, bye.